This video is on the price prediction of Nasdaq 100, which we also refer to as USTech, as you guys know. And this is actually a continuation of the last video that we, did, where we looked at Nasdaq 100 from the monthly chart and all the way to the daily chart. In this video, what we'll do is look at this particular index from the weekly chart and all the way to the H4 chart, right? And so, guys, let's get straight into the actual analysis. And just to recap, remember the last time we spoke about this chart, or rather Nasdaq 100, we had said that the market had given us this huge multi-session W structure. And as I've said multiple times, because it started at this point, we want to see the structure more or less and at that level pretty much in line with where it had started, right? Nonetheless, having said that, we can also see that at this point in time, the market has been very choppy in and around this area. It's actually been struggling to move further up to that level, and that is because the fundamentals have been not so great. And remember, guys, when it comes to the trading or investing in Nasdaq 100 or indices, at the end of the day, fundamentals move the market, right? Fundamentals move the market. We don't pay too much attention to fundamentals on this channel. However, you need to make sure that you also pay equal attention to fundamentals to make sure that your technical analysis also matches with your fundamental analysis so that you can make the best decision possible, right? So, as I said, guys, the market has been struggling in regards to moving up in and around this area, and we can also see that it has been giving us, rather give us a double top here, which has a neckline at that point. And what this means is that we may potentially see price from this level actually head down to around this level, which is where we have the neckline of this huge double bottom, as you guys can see, right? That's what it means. Having said that, I believe that we are gonna see price, from this level actually start to move further up. Why do I say so? I'll show you the reasons on the daily chart, right? So from now, or rather, let's head down to the daily chart and see what's happening down there. And as I said, guys, I said that at this point, I believe that chances are we're gonna see price start to move up. However, having said that, remember also, because the market had given us this huge M structure which has a neckline at that point, it is also quite possible that the market may head up to the neckline to test it, and at the neckline is where we may see price move further down to around this level, which is a very strong level of support and the neckline of that W structure that we have on the weekly chart, right? But the main reason why I say that, let me just actually zoom in. Right. The main reason why I say that we may potentially see price from this level move further up is because if you were to look at this area over here, right, you would see that we actually have what seems to be a double bottom. Let me just actually zoom in. So we have what seems to be a W bottom, or rather a double bottom at that point. And you guys know that whenever we have these structures, a lot of traders and investors actually buy on that second leg and they place their stop losses just below, right? So the reason why, in hindsight, we saw price move further down to around this level is because of this double bottom where we had a lot of stop losses located in and around this area. Hence, we saw price come all the way down to this level, as I said, to grab that liquidity, right? The markets will always go to where the money is, guys. The markets will always go to where the money is. If you were to look at this area as well over here, you would see that we have another W structure. So what this means is that in the future, the market will head down to that level because we have a lot of stop losses located here, right? However, we just don't know when exactly this will happen, but that level is not important. The most important level or area is this area we have over here, right? And let's have a look. What else do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart? At this point, I don't see much. Another thing that I also want to bring to your attention is that if you were to look at this area over here, we have that candlestick, and as you can see, it is a bearish candlestick which has quite a small body and a relatively long lower wick. And you also know that this means we have a lot of money stuck here, and it also tells us that we may possibly see price in the future come back to that level to trigger that liquidity and possibly also give us a double bottom. I hope you guys can see that, right? But what else do we see, guys? What else do we see in regards to the daily chart? And just to recap again, guys, Remember, on the weekly chart, I said to you guys that ideally, right, because the market started at this point, or the W structure started at that point, we want to see price continue to move further up to close in line with where it had started, right? If we were to look at, just bear with me, let's have a look. If we were to look at, let's just zoom in a bit. If we were to look at this area over here, we would see also that the market or price had given us a W structure, right, where we were expecting price to actually continue to move further up. However, that W structure failed, right, and that's because of fundamentals, right. We're expecting price to come back to the neckline and then at this point continue to move further up. However, as I said, it failed and we saw the market move further down to around this level, and that is also because we had a lot of stop losses located here, right, as we had this W structure where we had a lot of traders and investors actually buying at that point and placing their stop losses below. Hence, we saw price move further down to around that level, right? What happened next is it gave us another W structure as well, and the anticipation was for price to come back to the neckline to give it a test and at the neckline continue to move further up. However, this W structure failed as well as we saw price continue to move further down, right? As I said earlier, guys, if I can just zoom out, remember we had this W structure over here, and I said to you guys that we had a lot of stop losses located here, right? So we had this W structure as well as this W structure over here, and we saw price move further down to grab the stop losses at this level as well as at that level. This tells us that we had a lot of money here, and chances are now that the liquidity has been triggered, we're gonna see the market continue to move further up. However, as I said, because of this candlestick we have here, it is quite possible that we may see price come back to that level again to trigger that liquidity and then move further up, in which case it would give us a multi-session double bottom, as you guys can see. But as I said, myself personally, I expect price to move further up, guys, because as I said on the weekly chart, we have this W structure and price is at this point, and I would love to see it head up to complete that structure in line with where it had started. Anyway, from here, what I'm gonna do, guys, is head down to the H4 chart. However, before I do so, just remember also that the market had given us, as I said, this double top, which has a neckline at that point. And you guys know that whenever we have these structures, we want to see price closing sufficiently below the neckline and then heading back up to the neckline to give it a test. And at that point is where we would look for those potential sell opportunities, especially if the level aligns with any key numbers that we have in regards to the Fibonacci retracement tool. So what I'm saying in other words is that as much as I'm saying that we expect price from this level to move further up, it is also quite possible that we may see the market, due to the fact that we have this structure, right, actually head up to test it and then move further down, right? So you just need to be careful and practice good money management. Anyway, from here, let's head down to the H4 chart and let's have a look in terms of what's going on down there. And just to recap again, guys, remember we spoke about how the market at this point has given us that candlestick that's carrying all of that liquidity at the bottom, and we said we still expect price to come back to that level to test it and to grab that liquidity and then possibly give us a double bottom. To add to this, we also spoke about this M structure over here, which has a neckline at that point, and we said we may see price come back to the neckline, right, only to actually at the neckline move further down. But let's zoom in and see what's happening on the H4 chart. Let's have a look, let's have a look, let's have a look. On the H4 chart, we can see that the market at this point in time has given us what is an overextended double bottom over here, which has a neckline at that point. And you guys know that it is an overextended W structure because that first leg is much lower than the second leg, as you can see. And as I said, it has a neckline here. And what we want to see happen next is price actually close sufficiently above the neckline and then come back to the neckline. And if it does so at this point, we may look for potential buy opportunities. Having said that, just remember that over here, right, on the daily chart, we have that candlestick that's carrying all of that liquidity at the bottom. And as much as I'm saying that we should look for potential buy opportunities here, it is also quite possible that we may see price, right, actually come back to the neckline only to violate the neckline and move further down to grab that liquidity and then only push further up. But right now, in as far as buy opportunities go, at this point I don't see any, right? Just also bear in mind that we have, if I can just draw it, we have a channel over here, right? We have a channel over there, right? And in as far as the H4 chart goes, we are in a downward trending market. And as I said, the neckline of that W structure is here. And I believe that once price actually closes above this channel, right, we will likely see the market head up to that level. And at this point is where we may again see price move further down or even continue to move further up. But in as far as buy opportunities go, at this point I don't see any. And just to go back to the weekly chart, right, just to emphasize what I've been saying, right, because the structure started at that point, gave us a huge double bottom with a neckline at this point. I want to see price continue to actually hit up to that level to close in line more or less with where that structure had started.